We're back.
We're back. We're back. Sorry we've been away so long. It feels like a long time, and I think
Where's
it
your
has
confetti?
been. So thank you guys for being patient. But we are really full now on. We have in studio classes down in Arlington, which are going really well. We're in the seventh week down there. And finishing up next week, which will be the eighth week. So we run classes 8 weeks at a time, usually consecutive Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, and they're always full. We run that just FYI through the Arlington Adult Ed, which they must have a huge mailing list. I've never asked them what their mailing list is, but they must have tens of thousands of people because they always fill up fast. And we get all different types of people, and I love it. It's really a lot of fun. We have doctors, we have CEOs, we have engineers, we have blue collar worker, we have Jimmy, down at the T. We have all different types of people who seem to be interested in upholstery like you guys are. And then we have the YouTube channel, which I was just asking Patrick about. We have 23,500 subscribers. I keep saying 24,000, so we really have to realistically get the 24, Patrick. So we're asking you, if you guys are watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And I know...
I don't blame him for being mad. We've been gone for... Who do you blame for our hiatus? I think I blame Jimmy for our hiatus here.
Well,
I think I blame him.
No, he's always been willing, but I did take Jimmy as a treat. We took Jimmy out on a field trip. We went to a pageant. It was called, it was a pageant at one of the theaters in Boston. It was called We Are the Land, and it was put on by the Wampanoag Indians. And it was quite interesting. They put on quite a display, visual display, and information. It was good information. I think Jimmy enjoyed himself, Patrick.
Yeah. Well, I blame myself because we were away for months in our RV.
Yes,
traveling around working remotely.
He was working remote, so when Patrick's not here, things don't get done technically. He's the studio. I mean, if you see Patrick, I don't know if we could turn the camera around to see you, Patrick, but he's got his laptop and he's got his computer. He's got the keyboard, and he's going to be answering comments. So feel free, guys. Please feel free to comment.
Last time me and Michaela went away, I put the things up for you.
Yeah.
But we lost about 1,000 subscribers or something like that.
We lost? You can lose subscribers?
Yeah, because they didn't like how I scheduled every live show for every week. There's about 20 live shows.
You just told me something new to that.
Yeah.
You can actually lose subscribers.
Yeah, so be careful.
They can unsubscribe?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
So I was going to do that, but I figured it'd be better just...
No, I guess people like the live show with you here, Patrick, doing all that work. By the way, are there any comments yet?
Lee asked why we've been on hiatus.
And you just told her, right?
It was Jimmy's fault.
Yeah. I hope he's not watching.
No, we'll talk about that first next week.
Well, we'll talk about Jimmy. For all those who don't know who Jimmy is, he's the person... He's your best friend if you're learning the upholstery trade on the online classes, which, by the way, are the paid classes, and you get those through Upholstery on Broadway. In our store, there's a tab there. You can sign up. We have all different classes. How many different classes do we have, Patrick?
I don't know, but I know that we're in the last promised class for pack number 2.
Okay.
Which is going to be the one Jimmy's.
And he's coming in next week to start that. And just to let you know, guys,
it's a really cool one. I'm going to show it or no?
Not yet. Let's have it be a surprise. So Jimmy, just to finish up, Jimmy is the person. He's the apprentice on film with me, and he's the one asking the questions. And so when you watch this, if you buy it's very reasonably priced. If you buy the packages, so once in a while, or very often actually during the filming, I'll look at the camera and say, this one tip right here is worth the price of the class. Because it's usually when I teach YouTube, I don't think of everything so mechanical. And I think that's true with anybody who's really skilled, who's developed a really good skill. They get mechanical, and sometimes they don't verbally say or show what it's not done to be mean or to hide information. It's done because You just simply, it's so mechanical, you don't think about it. So, but with Jimmy as an apprentice, the way those online classes are set up, Jimmy's asking these questions, and that's where you learn. That's what I feel. Now the YouTube is great. We've had people who watch hundreds of videos, right, Pat?
Yeah.
Hundreds of videos on YouTube, and they've actually can learn. You can learn upholstery through the YouTube videos, but if you really want to up your game, if you really want to develop a better, faster skill, the online classes are highly recommended. So check that out. So I talked about the in-studio classes. I talked about the YouTube. I haven't talked about Facebook. Now I've noticed, Patrick, your little hiatus. Facebook has kind of slowed down a little bit too.
Well, I have to thank, was it Jean?
Yeah.
Who for posting all those cool projects.
She kind of kept Facebook going a little bit there. So one of our people
from years ago, and she's got a lot of. I printed out a few of them. There's so many that
we'll get to that. Yeah. But first is going to be the YouTube comments, and we do have a lot of them because we've been away. So I probably, unless you have any other business.
Well, I want to mention one thing about the YouTube that we're not going to be proud about. I'm going to tell you the last time we uploaded a video here, which is going to have to change.
When was that? When was that?
I had to go so far back. I think it was a Victorian chair fix. There's no way. That was a year ago. There's no way that's possible, is it?
That's not good. So, I think we rested on our laurels a little bit here because we've got so many videos, but that's not how YouTube works. YouTube always wants to see new videos, right, Patrick?
All right, so no, the angel chair with Jimmy. That was the GoPro one.
That was over the summer.
In May, so that was the last one we did.
All right. Now
but still not excusable.
The next one we're going to do a quick one. We're going to do the one coming up really quick. I'm going to do it, Patrick. It's a theater chair from the old Met in New York City. In 1966, they closed. They tried to save the old Met, I guess. There was a big push to try to save it, but they couldn't save it. So we have a chair from the old Met that somebody bought at auction that we're going to show. The interesting thing about this chair, I won't give too much away. It doesn't look like much. It's a small chair. It's a side chair. But the person who bought the chair at auction found a piece of bubble gum underneath the chair, and I thought that was kind of cool. But anyhow, I like those little stories sometimes. Better than the really outrageous big stories, as they say. So, anything else that you can think of, Patrick? So we're going to promise more videos.
Yeah, now we're in our, well, you claim we're not, but we're in our busy season, supposedly. Right now we're a little bit slow, but it's going to start getting crazy here in a little bit.
It should. I think there is, I don't want to get into the reasons why I think it's slow, but, hopefully it'll get busy. But we'll see, hopefully. But we're not worried about it. We've been in business now at this location for 12 years, and I've been in business various ways for 42 years. So we can always fall back on other things that we do. Like, for instance, I'm not doing repair work right now because we've had a lot of upholstery work. Upholstery is our main, residential upholstery is our main thing. But there's a lot of business out there for just partial repairs. And I'm getting a lot of calls like that, Patrick. Mm-hmm. I'm still saying no thank you to them, but I think we might have to start reevaluating that. I mean, for instance, you guys, somebody called the other day. They had two club chairs, and they could find the fabric, that they were done in like 15 years ago, and they were wondering if we would just do the cushions. And I said, well, no, we usually don't do that because even new fabric against the old fabric's not going to look that great. But we're going to start reevaluating that, Patrick, because 10 of those jobs is like a chair. So we might have to think about that. Okay, remind me. All right, talk to you about that. I
want to say hi, Malcolm. Malcolm's here.
Oh, Malcolm, he's been a good.
He was asking me about. I was going to say bugging, but it wasn't in a bad way. He was asking me about where we were, and I felt bad. I told him we were going to get one out in October, and then we never did.
Yeah.
I'm finally here now in November.
Well,
sorry,
we're back.
Malcolm.
We're back now at the live.
Nico says she missed us. We missed you too.
Oh, hi, Nico. So we've got some people right now. That's great, and a lot of people watch this later, right, Patrick? Like Janine. Has Janine been around?
Not in a while, but we haven't been around. So
Janine is in Australia. So we have.
Hey, there's Randy. Hey, Randy.
Hey, Randy. How you doing, Randy? We have fans from all over that watch, and that's really cool. We try to actually Randy and Malcolm, I'll ask you how is the business climate in your areas?
Well, Nico too. Like wasn't she in New York? Too?
Nico, yeah, those are three different geographic areas, I think. Malcolm and Randy and Nico. So we'd like to ask you live if you guys can comment about how you see the economy in your area, how's the flow of business, and has the inquiries to your job to the jobs out there have changed? Have they changed? Are people watching their dollar more? I'm finding that. I'm finding a different conversation going on with the people inquiring about upholstery. So I like your feedback on that. So
Nico's in Georgia, so that's an even more different area.
And then Blair, I don't think Blair comes on, and I think he's so busy down there in Alabama that he's
also in the South. Oh, Lee's also in the South.
Oh, that's good.
Louisiana.
Oh yeah, they're all different areas. So we'd like to know what's going on in different parts of the country. That would be great. If you guys could let us know how you're doing.
Will do, Paul. You're present.
Paul?
Yeah, it says I'm here. Mark me present on the attendance sheet.
I appreciate you guys. I really do. And so let's get to the YouTube. And Patrick's going to be up, every once in a while. If you guys have comments or questions, Patrick, are you going to read them? Patrick?
Malcolm's opening up a Etsy shop.
Oh, no kidding.
Me and Michaela wanted to do that, and we still do.
Wow. Etsy related to upholstery?
I've only done a few upholstery jobs and transitioning to this sewn products.
Oh, good.
Malcolm, send me once you open that up, send the link. I'll definitely check it out.
In other words, Patrick, and Malcolm can correct me if I'm wrong, he's going into smalls.
Right.
SMALS. I think he's on the right track. I think he's smart. I think that if the economy gets a little tighter and people start to get a little nervous about the economy, et cetera, smalls are the way to go. So he's onto something there. So that's a good idea. For instance, with me, I just got through telling you that I might have to reevaluate the repair work more. Where, I think people would be interested in, instead of upholstering a sofa for $3,000, if they can repair it for $1,200 or $1,100 and then have it come out somewhat decent, they may go that way. And I think also, Pat, what that means is customer service. You have to up your customer service, meaning you have to. I might have to get back on the road to go out and to meet people outside. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, we've had it made, we really have had a really, and I'm not saying it's gone, but you always have to be proactive, you guys. And I'm talking to the people who are the DIY people too, working out of their homes and are relying on supplemental income. And also the people who own their own businesses like Blair and Malcolm and Randy. So, you always have to be couple of steps ahead of what's going the climate, so we're going to be looking at that now. So that's okay. We could do both. So the reason we've been kind of spoiled because we get so many inquiries about upholstery, and we're at the probably high middle as far as pricing goes, which is a pretty good place to be in. We're in a great location, and all of the estimates we get, we give out through texting, which doesn't take a long time. If I had to go out on every single call, I'd be in trouble. That would take a lot of time. But we get like 50%, maybe 40% of the jobs, which isn't bad. But a lot of it is, a lot of people who are asking about price, they don't really know pricing, and they're comparing. We're competing, and I've talked about this a lot. We're competing with the world market, and we're competing with stores that can buy a sofa overseas and ship it for under $500. Think about that, guys. So if they just double the price, which believe me, they do more than double, it's a pretty good profit margin for them and for the client. When you're comparing my prices to their prices, sometimes they beat me. They can beat me almost every time. So the reupholstery of antiques and good solid upholstered furniture is that's your sales kind of angle. That there's good furniture and that it's not really can compare to the $2,000 sofa, for instance. So I have Baker furniture in the shop now that there's no comparison to anything on the market right now to an older Baker style furniture, for instance. That's upholstered furniture for me. But anyhow, Patrick, are there any other comments, questions?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Do you want to go into it now before I read, or do you want me to start reading? Or?
Well, I'll read this. So, Malcolm, I've only done a few upholstery jobs. Oh, I already told you that one. I had one fancy chair worth mentioning this summer. Nothing else worth mentioning. I mean, Nico said I did 3 sofas, 2 wingbacks, and I just finished a 9x7 patchwork wall tapestry. Cool.
You're kidding me.
She posted some stuff on there, and I printed them out.
Did you just hear that, you guys? He went a little too fast there. This is prolific.
Yeah, 9x7 patchwork wall tapestry.
Read again that her workload, what she's already accomplished, Patrick.
So I'm not sure when this means. I don't know the timeline. Maybe it was over the summer.
Just give me a rundown of what
3 sofas.
Three sofas.
2 wingbacks. And the tapestry. 2
wings. And I won't comment on the tapestry because I have no idea. But this is Nico?
Yep.
So Nico, if I had to guess, this is a good... is she doing this on... this is her work. She's
yeah.
That's not bad. I mean, when you think... If you want to put that in dollars and she's selling the fabric. So she's at $4,000 for each sofa. That's 12 plus another maybe $2,500. Let's say that's about $15,000, not including the needlepoint, Patrick. Or I mean the tapestry. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Randy says I have a lot of people shopping.
Yeah.
The county I am in just added an extra 2% sales tax, so someone could travel. I think he meant 10 miles east and have a lower total cost, like New Hampshire.
He's not helping.
It's like here we go up to New Hampshire, no sales tax.
I want to ask him. He said they went up 2% on the sales tax in his state.
The county.
In the
individual county, it seems.
Counties have sales tax.
Yeah, he's in Wisconsin, right? So I don't know.
Oh, that's not good, man. That is not good. You're going to have to offset that somehow by offering free pickup and delivery. Well, he knows. Randy's pretty savvy, but he's going to have to offset that with something.
Hope that never happens here, because Arlington will be the first one to put it.
Well, we're at 6.25%, which is, where New Hampshire has nothing, Patrick.
Yeah.
So that's getting up there too. Hopefully they don't go up again.
So Lee, who's in Louisiana, says it's been nonstop down there.
Oh, good. I'm wondering if she doesn't have to tell me what her pricing is, but where would she say she is? Is she low priced? Is she medium? Is she high medium? Or is she high end in Louisiana to be that busy? So she may be in a position to offer for less, and she's interested in more volume. I mean, this is how you approach it. Sometimes we're just wondering where she's at to be in Louisiana busy. I'm just wondering about that.
Malcolm says, one thing I've noticed, people are unwilling to pay for full upholstery job compared to buying new, at least in Arizona where he is.
He's in Arizona, so there you go. Yeah, people, I think what's really affected upholstery for the longest time, upholsterers, is the fact of this open world market that we're in. And honestly, I don't think it's that fair that you have slave labor. I won't mention any countries, but there are slave laborers in other countries. You're producing, high quality, at least high quality surface in upholstery. It's like, even in wood, you can make something really look good, but really the bones aren't. And that's how they save money. They're always interested in saving money. This is one of the reasons why I don't like to work with customers' own material, for instance. And I'll tell you what, in the fabric business, what happens is even a high-end fabric company will hire an overseas mill to produce fabric, which the first 100 yards look great. But what happens is the quality starts to go down, because what happens is they stop using certain chemicals. The backing gets thinner and thinner, and before you know it, you have a fabric that's falling apart. This is what happens. The other thing that manufacturers do, a manufacturer so much so doesn't really care about that. As a matter of fact, they would probably like the fact that a fabric falls apart after 5 or 7 years, but not sooner, because the idea there is when that happens, people will go back. Hopefully, will go back and buy new. And so we're in this. Some people are in this rotation where they're just buying new furniture after 5 or 7 years. Whereas when I first started, and gladly there are still people out there who have quality furniture. I'm upholstering furniture fifth generation. I had a fifth generation rocking chair in the shop the other day. So so it's getting back to manufacturers' fabrics, for instance. That's why I like selling my own, because I know I have a very reputable company, Greenhouse Fabrics, which I like. I know it. I know the fabrics well. Michaela is very schooled in it, and we have double rubs that it shows in the back what the double rubs are, which is the most important criteria. So we're looking at least a 20. I say 20,000, but the industry they say 15,000 is heavy duty and above. Now in the manufacturing world, they're putting on 2,000, 3,000 double rubs if you're lucky. And that's so that, like I said, if it wears out and you buy new furniture, you're not going to be reupholstering that piece of furniture. So we're up against it in a lot of ways. We have to be, Malcolm, Randy, Nico, we really have to school. I hope I've helped you guys in talking and educating your customers, so that and that they use you. Now I have a lot of loyalty where I am in Arlington, Massachusetts. People say to me, well, we know that we can get something less expensive, but we want to support the local businesses. So how did that happen? How this community that I'm in is wonderful this way, and it seems to be the main feeling in this community. But we give back to the community. This is really important. I mean, that's why I go through the Arlington Adult Ed. If you guys are doing businesses, you're starting a businesses, your best source of goodwill is through your local school system. You can and it makes you, it's a feather in your cap too. It makes you look good. But you do it for goodwill, and I think that there's a lot of goodwill in the community, and that's why they want to support the businesses, especially businesses that have been there. They want to maintain that. They want to maintain that. So, any other questions or comments, Patrick?
Randy says county and state and city can have sales tax starting January 1st. Ready for this?
Yeah.
7.5%.
Hey, man, this is just ridiculous. That's almost matching what the mortgage rates are.
Wow.
The mortgage rates are up too. There's a limit, you guys. There's definitely a limit. It's just too bad. Now in Massachusetts,
Poor Randy.
I know he's going to have to figure out. Randy, you got to figure out ways of countering that. In Massachusetts, I wonder if they do in Wisconsin. We have a weekend in August. Big deal, one weekend.
I thought that was national or federal.
No, that's
only Massachusetts.
State of Massachusetts. Other states might do it. I don't know, but we have one tax relief, sales tax relief weekend.
Yeah.
And people have taken advantage of that in the past, I guess. But it's only up to a certain amount of money, by the way.
At least the labor doesn't have it.
Right.
So it's just the fabric.
So I'm going to start reading the YouTube because we have a lot of these, Patrick.
Yep.
So if anybody's new on here, is there anybody new, Patrick, that's on there?
So you never know. Could be more people watching.
Do people, when you look at that, I'm not sure, when you look at the comment section there, does it show everybody that's watching, or does it, how does that
only
work?
People who comment.
Only
so
people who comment.
Watching who aren't commenting.
So there could be 100,000 people watching.
Like Jimmy, because we know he's on there. Not
Jimmy's watching. He's one of these, what do they call them, stalkers.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that.
Fanboy.
He's a fanboy?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
He's obsessed with you.
Oh, no. No. All right, well, let's get to the first comment. Rare Fine. Now, what we're doing here for you people who are new, I read, there's comments that are put on the YouTube station, and what I do is I read what the video is, and then I read the comment. This video is Rare Fine, How to Upholster 1860 Antique Chair Restoration. It's one of my favorites, by the way. Great info. I think it will help me with the project. I've been reluctant to begin, and there's a little Sky Moon is the name, and there's a little heart there. Well, thank you very much. I like that. And then Sky Moon also says, I wish I could send you pictures. It's lion carved wood chair with horsehair and cotton. Well, I'm glad if you're watching Sky Moon, go onto the Facebook forum, man. That's your best source. Other people who are on the Broadway Upholstery School, right, Patrick, on Facebook forum. I mean, this is another source. So we have all these sources. We have the online classes. We have the in-studio classes. We have the website, Upholstery on Broadway. We have the Facebook forum. What else do we have, Patrick? The live show that you're watching. That's 5, right?
Yep.
So we're even though took a little hiatus there, Patrick, we were hoping that we had enough legs there that things were running without us, really, Patrick, right?
Yeah, the videos are always up. So.
Yeah. But we can't rest in our laurels when it comes to this YouTube channel either, right, Pat?
Well, you can't just forget about it like we've
Right.
done.
This is interesting. So this is I'm talking about upholstery chalk. We did a series of these supplies that we use, and one was on upholstery chalk. It doesn't sound like a lot, but you can use a chalk that stains a piece of fabric, and then you're in trouble, right, Patrick? So the chalk that we use is specialized chalk. And then this person says, William, he says, I use Taylor's French chalk, which comes in thin, flat pieces, and I use the edge to achieve thin lines. I'm familiar with this chalk. You have to be careful with this chalk because I think it's almost permanent in some fabrics. Now, on the chalk that I use, it's not a school chalk. It's a real powdery chalk. And it breaks easy, by the way. You get them in sticks like this, and they break easy. But they break easy because they're more powdered. The reason that that's important is because it'll stay on you mark your fabric on the outside of the fabric. I mean, on the inside of the fabric, and it'll come off. I've not seen it stain any fabric. Whereas this I've seen stain fabric. If you're using it in non-seen parts of the fabric, that's fine. Some people use pencil. I don't think I would recommend that. Definitely don't use pen or magic marker. That's a warning for you guys. Learned that the hard way when I first started. Maybe I should tell that story, Patrick. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was somebody else. But it was in a shop, and it was a hot summer, and it was actually the boss that did it. He somehow picked up one of these new. It was a few years ago, Patrick, when magic markers were new. Black magic marker. Whoa, what's this? Oh,
That brings back memories for me.
Why?
I remember you used to have all those magic markers laying around at your old shop. Remember at Timmy's place?
Yeah, but we wouldn't use them to mark the fabric.
I used to love them.
Yeah.
Surprised I didn't get in trouble over there with them on the furniture. I knew better.
Except the stuff that was done. But he marked all the fabric on the out. He abbreviated all his fabric on the back side of the fabric, upholstered the chair, and a week later we got a call from the customer and said, "Something's terribly wrong. It's terrifying with my furniture. I'm getting all backwards letters coming out of my furniture." So I went over there, Patrick, and it was all his writing, but it was backwards, right? It was bleeding through the fabric.
Yeah.
And she didn't know what it was. We had to do the whole thing over again.
Wow.
So beware of that, you guys. Okay, Patrick.
Nico's an interesting one here because I don't know if we could talk about it yet because it's still kind of possibly in the works, but hers sounds similar. So this got asked to upholster 9 benches. The customer passed. The price I quoted was out of range. So we're currently dealing with something that not that specific thing, but could be that, but we don't know.
We should bring it up because commercial work.
I don't know if this is commercial work that she got, but it sounded benches.
That would qualify for commercial, though. I mean, nobody's going to have 9 benches in their house, Patrick. So that's got to be a commercial job. There are considerations, for commercial work per piece. Usually you go down a little bit.
Let's put it this way: we've got a couple of commercial things in the time between now and then, and as of now, they haven't come
They're not easy. You're competing with other people who are bidding, and they, unfortunately, human nature, whatever, they pit one after another. They'll say, you give an estimate, and they'll come back and say, well, the other guy said this. Can you do better? And unfortunately, that's the game in the commercial world. So it's even less likely you get commercial work. So what was that, Nico said that? Don't feel bad. Excuse me. Is that it for now, Patrick?
Randy says Taylor chalk equals evil.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He agrees with me, huh?
Yeah.
So he uses the powdered chalk, I'm sure.
says, what is the right kind? Lee says, what is the right kind of marking tool that is used that isn't tailor chalk?
It's a powdered chalk. We have it on the website, right, Patrick?
Yes, we do. What's the brand? I forget.
It's not a brand.
No, we used to have a brand.
I don't know. I don't think so.
It was Dixon.
Dixon. Okay. Yeah. All right. Dixon. Yeah. Okay, we got one on how to upholster outside back of dining room chair. And Megan asks, how much extra material should I order when doing an upholstery job? I'm doing 8 dining room chairs, antique top and bottom box cushion piping at top and bottom and back of chair. Just a roundabout, I got 16.5 yards plus 4 yards of a different fabric for the back of the tops. Chair bottom and top measure 22 by 22. Well, I can tell you I'm pretty good at in my head figuring out yardages. I've been doing it for so long. Megan, you're right on. Pretty much you've got what you needed. You're asking, so you know you've got what you needed, but you're asking if you should get more. I only tell students sometimes I'll increase and I'll tell them because you know you don't want them wondering why they have extra fabric at the end of the job. But I'll tell them in the beginning if they're ordering fabric through me, or if I'm telling them, I usually tell them to get an extra yard or two for beginners, just in case they make a mistake. And they're more than willing to do that. Makes them feel good. I'm usually, though, professionally, you have to be really tight because, like Nico, she just lost that job. If she's quoting at a price, you got two main. Well, you got 2, you got 3. You can have up to 3 main ingredients for pricing, which is labor, fabric, and maybe pickup and delivery, and maybe materials too, other than fabric. So there are different components to an estimate. So on the fabric end of things, if you're overestimating on professionally on your commercial jobs or your residential jobs, and you're competing with the world, really, you're competing with other upholsterers, and I'll tell you a funny story about that. You have to be really close. You have to be close. You have to be really good at estimating. You don't want to be, there's some companies that were doing double the amount of yardages because really the consumer doesn't know, Patrick. Here's the trick in the upholstery business, if you're dishonest. Fabric is 54 inches wide. And most people, when they think of a yard of fabric, think of a square yard, 36 by 36. So when you say a certain amount, they don't think, they don't not much thought from the client standpoint. So it's good to be honest, though. So and as far as competition goes in my area, I'm in the metropolitan Boston area, which I don't know if you're not familiar with Massachusetts, we have beltways. We have Route 93, which is right along the coast, and there's towns in not many. Boston is one of them. 93 runs through Boston. But that's like one belt, and then we have a 95 belt, and then we have a 495 belt. I'm within the 95 belt, so we did win Best of Boston one year, right, Patrick? So I remember somebody said
2018, right?
Somebody said, "Well, how hard could be? How many upholsterers could be?" There's always somebody that wants to do a Debbie Downer on you, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
I'm only bringing this up because of the competition that I mentioned. We have competition. Everybody has competition. And so I said, well, I did check this out when we won that because I was curious how many upholsterers. I counted 222 upholsterers in that one beltway, the 95 beltway, Patrick.
Wow.
I'm not even including the 495 beltway and beyond.
So it's not really dying, is it?
No, actually, we've been getting some feedback, even though I just told you guys that it got slow a little bit. Somebody said we're in a good spot right now with upholstery, Patrick.
That's good.
I've heard that back from a couple of people.
Well, it goes to show you how bad the new furniture market must be.
Well, I think that I think they've got a big problem in the new furniture in that they've sold maybe not such a good product over the years. I think people are starting to catch on.
I meant to mention that to you.
What?
Another commercial was released of your buddy there.
Oh, was it an anti-upholstery commercial?
No, but he was at a bar and playing pool.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with furniture.
Oh,
He
really?
was just doing all these, right, Michaela? doing all these activities that have nothing to do with furniture at all.
Well,
drinking alcohol. And
you brought it up. I still don't understand the commercial. He had a string of anti-upholstery commercials.
I can't say who, but make it soon.
We don't want to say who, but it's a major furniture store. Let's just say that in the New England area. But the commercial was
looked like a scene out of Saw.
It was. It was this gentleman who was at the door, and he was afraid to go into the shop. And the camera's on the inside of the door, and the door opens, and he's kind of peeking in, doesn't want to come in because it's dangerous in that upholstery shop. Right?
Yeah, it was all rusty, too.
And then you see the camera pans into this gentleman who's trying to get work for himself through new furniture industry, and he says, you could take your furniture to a guy like this, and the camera swings around.
There's no guy. There's no other guy.
There was a guy with a cigar. What are you talking about?
You added that part.
Well, the camera swings around, and there's this table, and on the table, I still don't understand it. There's this machine with all these gears, and it's going around, and there's oil dripping from the machine, and there's smoke coming up. And there's a guy, with a cigar and a big belly. Well, we won't talk about the belly.
So I guess you were in it then.
Or you could come to my store, he said. The camera swings right around. Well, I suppose if we had unlimited amounts of money to advertise,
we have to poke fun, They're doing it to us. So.
It's all in good nature. I mean, it's good nature fun, right?
The joke that we get the last laugh because quality. The quality speaks for itself.
That's right. Any questions or comments about marketing?
Malcolm says that was you in the commercial.
He didn't say that, did he?
No.
Don't put words in Malcolm's mouth. He might not like that.
He says, in a former life, I would never quote over the phone only to a written specification, so I knew other vendors would be quoting from the same info. That's smart.
That is smart. See, that's how you have to stay ahead. We got another one here from Rubberized Horsehair. Hi there. I'm new to this. I'm doing an old chair with springs, so my question is, does this rubberized horsehair go over the burlap? And the simple answer is yes. We got how to make double piping. Hi, can you please tell me what kind of double piping that you are using in this video? Thank you. It's a 5/32 paper double piping that's held together with the cotton thread. Now, before it was a better product I can't get anymore. It was called Costco came out with a Conso. Came out with a really nice cotton double welt, which I really liked because it was softer. I can't get it anymore. And the reason why it was good was because it took the corners, when you're going around corners better. It's almost like a GIMP. And GIMP does that well. GIMP is another what we use, just to let people know who don't know what GIMP is. It goes around corners, it's flat, and it's like a scroll GIMP, they call it. But that old double welt was really good about going around corners. The new stuff, not so much. I'd rather have the old stuff, but I can't get it. And then this is from Sashin Warwick, fixing a pop button for free. I have a question. I'm trying to repair a popped cushion button, but it doesn't have. I don't understand this. I'm trying to repair. I'll just read it as it says. A popped cushion, but it doesn't have buttons. It's just sewn in the one and just thread, and I'm guessing a knot. Should I send you a picture? No, what you need to do is learn how to hand stitch. So you can go on. We have a hand stitching video, right, Patrick? I know.
There's a comment on there about that.
What do you mean?
I have to mention this before I forget.
Is it an
I deleted it because I think you wanted to. It said, I'll just tell it because I remember what it said. It said, this is not old school methods because you were using staples and a staple gun in it. It was one of the mystery chair, the 1800s chair. You have to use twine and there's something like and tacks or something like that. He said you have to use this.
But that's not this one.
This is a fraud, he said.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The only time you have to stick
I guess you were claiming that it was old school methods.
Yeah.
You were using staples in it. So I don't know.
Listen, he had no idea what the conversation, if it was a customer's chair, customers are told exactly what's going to happen. In some cases, staples are better than tacks on antique furniture. But if you're doing a museum piece, which I've done, that's different. Then you have to reuse tacks that are coming off the chair. Hopefully, you can reuse as much of the old material as possible. And then he's right. If you're talking museum pieces, you have to stick to the script. But if you're using, if it's a residential customer, you make sure you describe what you're going to do exactly and why you were doing it. But oftentimes I'm mixing pre-World War II materials and post-World War II materials. That's how it's divided in the upholstery business, anyhow. Any questions or comments, Patrick, before I move on?
Lease has not many upholsterers in my area that I know of, even looking online.
Oh, no kidding. Well, good. If you're the only one, that's good.
Yeah.
Upholstery question of the week: springs and plywood. I have a bar stool with zigzag springs, and I wish to remove them because they are causing a great deal of pain. I thought about filling the void with the high-density foam. People do that. But I'm not sure how I should secure it to the bottom. I'm not a professional. This is just a DIY to try and save my bar stools and the fabric on it. You can go on to the store, Patrick. Don't we have repair kits that with
I
the
noticed those never really took off though.
No.
I think they'd be confused what's in them, but I haven't listed.
Well, Kim, you go on. I mean, you could get webbing. Your idea of filling the void in with high density foam is good, and just web the bottom, and then put a piece of black cambric, to finish it off. Then we got DIY to pad a cane dining room chair. She says, Laura says, I love your video. I have this exact chair bottom. It still has the webbing intact. It's a bit stretched. Should I replace the webbing or just tighten what is on the chair? I have no way of telling without actually seeing it. But if it's dry, you want to replace it. Let's just say that. The next one is fixing a pop button. It's one of the favorite videos, Patrick, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your washer idea. Sadly, when I tried this, the washer came straight back out. So, so you may want to look into the professional tool, which, we gave two videos on that, Pat. One with the specialized German needle tool with the clasps, right? And the other one was using your home tools, which is good. So she may have to go and look at that other video and maybe buy that German needle, right?
Yep, the sewing kit, right? Is what you're talking about?
Yep. There's we have sewing kits available on Upholstery on Broadway. .com, right, Patrick?
Yep.
How to upholster dining room chair, part 3, padding and upholstery. So we have done free videos with what do we call A to Z's, Patrick?
Yeah, that GoPro one was kind of one, but
Yeah, the GoPro did that GoPro work, do you think?
I know Malcolm gave us some tips about it. I think
Yeah.
we can improve on the microphone and all that. So I haven't given up on it.
Yeah. I think it ended up looking like an episode of Cops, especially with Jimmy.
I do have an older GoPro, so it doesn't help.
So we have to be careful of that. Okay, so what a great video. I love this. You didn't write this, did you, Patrick? What a great video. What a handsome man. I wish I was like him.
Get out of here.
I love how you explained and demonstrated exactly how to upholster a puffed chair from a puffed upholsterer. I think that was a backwards. That's a backwards slap there, isn't it, Patrick?
I have no idea.
How to make double piping. Excellent tutorial, Rosemarie. Well, it's about time somebody acknowledges what we're doing here, right, Patrick?
I know.
Let's see. Thailand, I guess, is the name of this person. The Upholstery Show Live. And we do like the comments on the live shows, too. Hi, I'm an amateur in California. Love your teaching. Needed your show starting in 2020. With first antique chair reupholstery. Done a few more since. Thank you. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. See, we have people in California, Arizona, Wisconsin, Australia, Brazil. Remember who was the guy down in Belgium, Patrick? Remember him?
Yeah, Lucas.
He hasn't been on in a while, has he? He's just moved on. He's busy in his own shop. He doesn't have time.
He popped back up I think in the spring I remember him coming on.
And then there's Blair. I know he's busy. That's great. Sometimes when you don't hear from people, it's good
My
to
gosh,
know.
that's I hope people didn't think we died or something. We're just busy.
Yeah, just busy, right? Any other comments, Patrick? Before I move on, because I don't want to get behind on that.
Randy says could be a tufted cushion that is done without buttons with just a loop of twine.
Yeah, that's true. That last comment, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's hard when people don't send pictures. It's hard to think. Deconstruction of a dining room chair. Thanks, teacher. Got it. I'll be back. Ha ha ha. I'll be back. Thanks, Mr. Magoo.
I don't know what
Mr. Magoo, he's calling me. Ha 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 ha. I think that's another backwards.
They sound excited.
Caning to upholstery conversion. Upholstery and preserve your caning. That's the name of the video. I can't believe how great this guidance is. Patrick, are you writing these? Lots of takeaways to apply to lots of projects. Thank you for being a great teacher and a way to listen to. Somebody told me what is the definition of a good teacher is that your students become better than you. That's one definition, Patrick. So I think that's that's your best compliment, right? As a teacher, that you right. He doesn't have much to say about that. Bentwood Rocker. Any questions, comments, Patrick, that we should catch up on, or before you want me to keep reading?
No, right now.
Bentwood Rocker. That was an interesting one. I don't see too many of those, but we did a part one. We did a few parts to that. FE 3613 says, for the back and seat, how do you remove the fabric from the bentwood around it? I'm not talking about removing the side pieces of the bentwood. I'm talking about the ones that make a rounded rectangular frame around the actual fabric. You can't remove the finish from a chair if the fabric is still attached. I'm not sure. This was one of the ones we did a long time ago, Patrick. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember the chair even. That's just. I'm sorry. Don't have much feedback on that one. And then, okay, this I can answer. What kind of angle do you drive the brads in at? Now this is interesting because brads, when you're putting brads through a panel, like on a front panel, you want to be straight. But sometimes putting a brad at an angle, this is really interesting, you guys, and I've talked about this before. Upholsterers are probably the best problem solvers out there. As a matter of fact, I think NASA, when they send astronauts up in space, they should send an upholsterer with the ship. Because upholsterers are really good at problem solving. You have to be good at problem solving. And I'll give you an example. So the brad, this is a good question about brads. Brads, in case you don't know, they're not nails. They're small-headed, usually silver-headed tacks that have a small head on them, but not the flat head like you get in a nail. There's a big difference. And brads come in different lengths. You can get them in half-inch, inch and a half. And they use an upholstery to secure panels, upholstered panels. And for most upholstery, when you put the brad in straight, the fabric pops, the threads don't break, the threads go back over the brad, and you look at it and say, how did they do that? But in the case of vinyl or leather, if you're going to go straight in on a panel, you're going to have a hole that you can see, and that's not good. That looks terrible, especially if it's a lighter leather. But I'm going to give you guys a tip that you won't believe this. We got a job on this one because we figured out how to do it, because all the other upholsterers couldn't figure it out. But it was my brother-in-law that figured this out. He angled the brad at like I would say about a 25 degree. It had to be at the specific angle. And he shot through the panel, and what it did, this is ingenious. What it did was it made a little flap. It didn't blow that where the nail went away. It created a flap. Once the nail went through, he was using, by the way, a pneumatic brad gun. He wasn't putting them in by hand. And what it did, Patrick, it created a little bit of a window, a little flap. So he took a little dab of glue, and he did a little dab of glue, I think it was Elmer's, behind that little flap, and pushed it back with his finger, and and you couldn't tell.
Wow.
Wasn't that smart?
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody else was putting them in like they were taught, straight.
Yeah. That's
So brads are interesting. We use a lot. I was using brads today on an antique furniture that needed brads in certain areas. Gimp tacks are also something that we use, but not in putting panels on. I don't know. I'm talking too much. I'm sorry if I am. But I get excited over those hacks. And in upholstery, we have all these hacks. And again, I'll bring up the online classes. You guys should check the online classes. It's got all those hacks in it. And we problem solve as we go along with Jimmy. Jimmy's the key to those classes. And he goes on. Oh, he says, I know 10 degrees, but what direction? Now, whoever this is pretty smart. They've done some furniture, I can tell. Depends. The 10 degrees, I don't know what he's talking about there, but I only know two. The straight, and then that, if you're having it depends on the fabric, I guess. It depends on the fabric you're using. I don't say on this video, but I'm saying it now. It looks like the first one you angled inward and the second one you angled outward. And I'm sorry, I don't remember this video, so I can't comment on that, but I commented on the brad use. I think that answers most of his questions in here. Okay, Sinclair. This is how to 8-way tie this in upholstery pad. One of the first videos we did, Patrick.
Yeah. That might have been the re-release of it.
What do you do with the other half of the twine when you're done tying one end? Sometimes we just clip them. If we don't want twine hanging over an edge to interfere. To interfere with the next thing that we put on, which is the burlap. So we might clip them. And then we have any new comments or questions, Patrick?
Nope.
Oh, this is one of the thumbnails that Patrick is good at with these thumbnails, and this is the wing chair, the new class. And this is Jimmy with some angel wings.
That was the class.
Yeah, I just picked up a vintage Victorian style chair kind of like this. Would you be able to help me narrow down the age if I was able to send pictures? You're always welcome. The Facebook forum, again, we'll mention the Broadway Upholstery School Facebook forum is a great place to show Nico and Jean, especially, right, Patrick? You can see all of Jean's work on the Facebook forum. And she's gotten help, and she's actually helped other people on there. So definitely go on there, post it on the Facebook page, and you'll get all kinds of good answers. Malcolm and Randy sometimes will kick in there too, which I appreciate. And Jimmy, has Jimmy been on the ball with that, Patrick?
No, he hasn't. There's about 50 people backlogged while I was away.
Why aren't you?
I approved everybody.
All right.
So
redesigning us. We're going to have to pay Jimmy, I guess. He keeps waiting for his checks. I say they're in the mail.
If only we had checks to give him.
I know. Redesigning a saddle seat from springs to foam. How about plywood with foam instead of the burlap? I don't like plywood as a rule. I picked up a couple of older chairs at a customer's house where the homeowner had put plywood on the bottom to prop the springs up from the bottom, and they used, 20 penny nails. They look like railroad spikes, for God's sakes. Oh my goodness, what a mess. They did a really good job because they were really hard to get off, Patrick. Really hard to get off without damaging the whole chair. You have to kind of work them out. You can't take a chisel and a hammer. They have to be twisted out. It was really hard. So instead of rewebbing the bottom, which is what they should have done, I don't like plywood. Plywood is always like an easy way of doing something. And then she says, wow, this is so much like the chair I want to redo. Thanks. Well, there you go. We can't cover every single piece of furniture in the world, Patrick. But we do have a lot of different types of furniture. And then Sewing Machine 101 video. Will this machine be adequate for auto upholstery? Thanks. I think so. The machine that I have, the Juki, is a good machine. It's a very versatile, user-friendly machine. And I think upholstery, automobile upholstery is a lot like residential upholstery, and I think it would be fine. Philip. Morris says, fixing a pop button. Again, my button has fallen through the sofa. Is there a way to fix this? Thank you. Uh-oh. That's a problem. The button has disappeared inside the sofa, Patrick. So I think, when I was growing up, we used to have milk cartons with lost people on it. Maybe you could put the button on a milk. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. I don't know how you're going to get that button. I don't know how you're going to fish the button out without taking the whole sofa apart. Unless you can get to the button and clip it. You need to, if you could see the button, you can go in there and clip the twines and get the button separated, and then start again the process which we show you on this fixed button video. And then we have Renee on how to cut fabric around posts. Thanks so much. You're very clear in your instructions. Brilliant. Again, that's a post from Patrick. No. Kara on restoring a theater chair. That was one of my favorites, actually. Thank you for these videos. My partner and I are renovating a theater, and the seats feel special. They aren't this old, but I still feel prepared to dismantle and reupholster them. Thanks for the lessons about taping screws, labeling the front, and how to properly staple upholstery edges. I have a feeling doing 100 seats without a pneumatic long-nose staple gun would be misery. Time to shop for a small air compressor solution. So there you go, you guys. A lot of these theaters are being reclaimed, and they're usually on a volunteer effort. Some of these older theaters, Patrick. So look at what that one video has done.
Wow.
It could be, that video could be the saving factor for a small theater somewhere, And we want to try to keep as much as, these old things as we can, right? Like me, you're not going to get rid of me anytime soon, are you?
I don't have any plans to do it, but Hale might.
Hand stitching a paneled arm. I could listen to you talk all day. How about you, Patrick?
I already do.
Thank you for using this platform to teach people your craft. This is so useful to know. That's a nice compliment, isn't it, from Naomi? Isn't it, Patrick?
Yep.
This is from Shayla. How to upholster an 1860 antique chair upholstery and tying spring. Worst things happen at sea. I don't understand what that means.
That was something you were talking about in that video.
What was it?
I forget. Something about the sofa washing up on shore or something.
Oh, right. Another story, right?
Yeah.
Any other? Do I need to catch up on anything there, Patrick?
Yep. Lisa's talking about sewing with industrial sewing machine. I'm curious, since I'm new to sewing on industrial machine, if I will get used to how fast the machine is without sewing my fingers.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. That's a safety issue too. We try to be as safe as possible. You know what? The old treadle machines. That's the nice thing about these old treadle machines, because you control the speed. Your foot on the treadle, you're pushing and pushing. It's always controlling the speed, and you were really connected to the machine. I've worked on a treadle machine once. I loved it. Not practical, though. I mean, you do need to wire up, as they say. But these machines here, I just think practice. Don't practice on a cushion that you're doing. Practice on just straight fabric. Try to get your speed down. At the same time, while you're practicing, a little tip, try to get, in your mind's eye, you need to get your half-inch seams in your mind's eye. Almost everything we do in upholstery is half-inch seams. Tailoring's different. I don't know what it is, maybe quarter inch or 16th, or maybe they vary in their seams too. But you can't rely on the machine. There's numbers on there that I think it's quarter, half, 3/4 of an inch, and I think there might even be another one on there on the plate of the machine. Don't even bother with that. That's just going to mess you up. You have to, in your mind's eye, get used to that half-inch. So that means that you have to practice that. And while you're practicing your speed, practice your speed first, and then practice that half-inch. In your mind's eye, you need that. So a tool for that is the tack tape, the half-inch tack tape that we have. And you can kind of put that on near the machine and kind of get an idea for that. It's really important. I don't mark my seam. It's all in my eye, my mind's eye, that seam. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. It's just a good tip. Um, let's see. The carved mahogany chair. Um, the Seuss says, what happened to the classes and website? I don't know what they're referring to.
I think I responded to that one.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago, Pat. We're catching up now, right?
Yep.
And
Classes
then
are coming.
the Davenport, this was a good one, part one. That was a big one, I think. Do you have a video suggesting how to fix double piping that is coming loose on a couch back? That's an easy one. You just re-glue it, right, Patrick? But I will say that on your glue guns, make sure that you have a high and a low, and always make sure you're on the high. Don't buy a glue gun that doesn't have a high-low, especially a craft glue gun, like in a craft store, because you're not going to get a glue gun that's going to heat the glue. I've talked about this before. It's really a bummer when you glue a whole thing up and you realize that the glue hasn't stuck, hasn't taken, and you go over and touch the double welt and it falls off. Make sure that it's hot, and then you make sure that you're careful with it because it can burn you. But all they have to do is get a glue gun, a proper glue gun, and re-glue that. That's an easy one. Helen on the how to cut fabric around posts. That was another popular one, Patrick. We should, if we're going to do, maybe we should do more of those.
Yeah.
I've watched this 10 times doing almost exact same chair. No matter what I do, I have too much fabric bunched in the back and sides. I wish I knew what shape fabric he started with and what size. I don't know what they mean. But I will say this, cutting fabric is the hardest thing for people because you're working backwards. And you really have to, in your mind's eye, forecast or prophesize how that fabric is going to be cut around a post. And that's why I try to tell people. That confuses people too, but that's one of the biggest problems, cutting around posts. That's why people on the online classes, I actually end up probably doing one side and then have them do the other side, or have them chalk, and then I check the chalk line to see if it's okay, the cut, when the fabric is backwards, right? The next one is, wow, thank you. I just bought a secondhand sofa with 2 loose buttons, and now I'm on the case. That's, again, fixing a pop button. It's a big popular video. And then how to upholster another one, 8-way tie with 5 springs. Hi there, great videos. I may sign up. You made reference to you cover Ottoman video where you cover more info about placing and tying coil springs. I can't seem to find it. Are you able to send it? I'm trying really hard to find info on spacing, height, and what you want to achieve for different seats in springs systems. Sincerely, Heather. Did you reply to that, Pat? That was a month ago.
Well, I saw it, but I wasn't sure what to say.
She just needs to search the YouTube videos because we have a lot of them, right?
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that we have all these different sources, like the online classes, the YouTube videos, the regular YouTube videos, and the upholstery. I think I would send her to the Broadway Upholstery Forum too on Facebook. That would be a good question to pose on Facebook. The next one is sorry, this is going to be a long, but we should warn people. This is going to be a long one, right, Patrick?
Yeah, you haven't even gotten to the...
how long have we been on so far?
Over an hour. So
usually we go maybe 55 minutes or an hour, but today we know because we haven't been around for a while that we're just going to catch up. And that's going to take a little while. How to tie an 8-way tie. 11 years later, and this is still one of the best videos out there. Thank you so much for your work. Now, Patrick, I can't get a better compliment than that.
Yeah.
It stood up to the test of time. 11 years. I will tell a little story about the 8-way tie. I won't mention any names or anything, but I remember the young man somewhere in the world, I won't tell you where, was having a difficulty in his life. Maybe was, I won't go into a lot of detail there, but they were having difficulty and they needed work. They couldn't find work, and then this person who owned a furniture store gave him a chance and said, we need somebody to tie springs. Showed him this video. Said, watch this video. If you can learn from this video and you can come, I'll hire you. So the man went home and he practiced and was hired, Patrick, by the person, right?
Wow.
So there you go. That's how you can make a difference in the world. And it's another reason why we do it, not to sound corny, but I think this is our way of giving back. Right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Our way of giving back. And when we hear stories like this, we've we have a few stories like this, Patrick. And we're always wanting people to share their stories. Please don't be shy about sharing your story. You can email us at Upholstery on Broadway. Upholsteryonbroadway at gmail.com, right, Patrick?
Yep.
With your stories, we won't mention your name, but if you have a story about how the channel or how I've helped you through the channel, through the online classes, through the Facebook forum has helped you, please, I want to hear about it. I'd like to talk about it. Not use your name, but it would be great. I mean, we had a young man come up and visit us. I don't think he would mind. Blair wouldn't mind that I mentioned him, Patrick, because we mentioned him before. And he started in his living room upholstering, watching my videos, and because I was curious about his square footage at one point. I said, well, how did you start? He said he started in a 40 square foot living room, went to a 400 square foot garage, and I hope I'm not misquoting here, and then went to a 4,000 square foot storefront. And I think he went to another 4,000. I think he expanded that, doubled that, because he went into refinishing. So he's a success story, big time, Patrick.
Yep.
And then how to pad a cane dining room chair. Robert says, thank you for sharing this. Your experience, respect for the craft, and no-nonsense delivery is rare and much appreciated. That's a good compliment, isn't it, Patrick?
Yeah.
And now we're done with YouTube, so we should catch up with before I go on to the Facebook, Patrick. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, there is actually. Malcolm says, sewing fast is only valuable for garment factories. I slowed down my machines with a small pulley on the motor.
Oh.
Malcolm has all these cool
Malcolm
little
is
things he does.
He's an expert.
Yeah.
They should launch him up in the next space shuttle, or I guess they don't do space shuttles anymore.
Then Nico says, getting better at eyeing it. I got the Juki DD8 700H and it has nothing on the plate.
Yeah, you don't want anything. It's better to have nothing on the plate, and usually I think the biggest problem with the plate numbers is you're looking at the plate, you're not looking where you're sewing. That can be dangerous too with the needle and your fingers. So
and then Randy says 1/4 inch quilting, 5/8 on mostly garment patterns.
Oh, he knew that. Thank you.
Or most garment patterns.
Thank you for saying that. So Gene posted, just finished the ottoman that goes with this oversized chair. Now we get to the visuals, you guys, instead of me just blabbing. We get to some visual. I'll hold these up, right, Patrick? The Facebook. Just finished the ottoman that goes with this oversized chair. 5 pillows out of the chair fabric, 3 pillows out of a coordinating fabric. Had to back it with cotton fabric. Checking to see if the client wants the other coordinating fabric made into floor cushions. Hey, she just brings up something interesting. It's how to maybe expand your sales. She's offering throw pillows and floor pillows as a way of. This is a chair she did. She did a great job. And is there ottoman there? Yeah, there's an ottoman there too, you guys. Are you seeing that, Patrick? Am I holding that up where I should? Up, down, sideways.
That's perfect.
Look at the lines on this. How straight the lines are.
And she has so many more of those, so go on there and check that out.
I guess
we ran out of ink on the computer.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to stand up here. Leslie Ryan, how do you charge for a French mattress cushion? I don't do those, but I know there's a lot of stitching on those, so hand stitching. So I bet they take a long time, but I don't do them, so I can't offer anything on that. Diana, help! I have a strange problem that I've not encountered before. Simple job, so I thought. I'm going to sit down again because there's no pictures here. And this is on the Facebook forum. Cracked board on front of chair fixed that lead to a zigzag spring replacement. Well, that's the problem. If you're having wood that's cracked or rails that cracked, when you think of the zigzag springs are the problem. Zigzag springs are put on with tension. And there's usually maybe 6 or 7 or 8 across. So you get the tension of all those 8 springs on that one wood rail. So that's the problem. Whereas coil springs are neat because this is our first, pretty much, not our very first seating system, because the very first was just webbing and horsehair. But springs have been around a long time, coil springs. they're acting as each individual units, and there's not a lot of tension put on the rails because it's an 8-way tie. So you have more of an even tension on the overall frame. So they hardly ever compromise a frame, except putting the nail in. Maybe that's it. Well, after 30 hours of my stubbornness, I still can't get the springs to feel right for the customer. The problem is the zigzag springs. I used edge wire. The seating still feels wobbly. It will, not firm like it should when sitting on the chair. Could it be the spring length? I've never had this happen before, and it's just nuts. She's just gone nuts. Thanks in advance for any ideas. I think, Diana, the big problem is the zigzag springs. If the frame can take it, you can switch to a coil springs. It's going to be a great effort on your part. I think your customer might appreciate it. But I think that's the solution. Linda says, I need help purchasing a new sewing machine. I assume that Juki is the desired brand, but I'm undecided about what model. Should I get a machine like the 5550 or a walking foot model? Now, Malcolm likes the walking foot. I don't use a walking foot. I haven't used a walking foot in years. It's not come up. I'm not doing commercial work or heavy leather work. That's why I don't need one. But I think the Juki 5550, especially for a beginner, even somebody who's a journeyman and a professional, that machine's fine depending on what you're doing. Malcolm, I think, does more leather work, right, Patrick? So he would need a walking foot, which makes it easier to feed leather through. But I think to start with the Juki 5550 is fine. Okay, now we have a visual here, which I'll get up and show you guys. Rebecca says, I'm stumped. This ottoman had a zipper on the cambric, and it gave access to this piece of cord. The cord is doubled and stapled to the frame in 2 spots. Wondering what the purpose of the cord is. I think the cord is being used to stabilize the springs, I think. This is something new, by the way. I'm seeing this now with zippered cambric. And the zippered cambric mainly is used so that you can assemble the legs through the bottom of the chair. But I think that welting that's on there now is to stabilize the zigzag springs so they don't move side to side, which is the problem that we just read. I'm not a big fan of zigzag springs. Let's see. And Jean posted, did a reversible flange pillow from a client's fabrics. Nice. Jean gets into a lot of sewing, which is, if you've got the skill, if you're sewing, you have the skill of sewing, the crossover to upholstery is a little bit easier. If you've got that skill. The thing about upholstery, though, which you have to be cautious about if you're a stitcher and you're trying to make that crossover, is the stretching techniques that we have in upholstery. That we spend a lot of time on stretching techniques in my class. It's really important. That's something that gets lost with people who just sew, because usually it's just when you're sewing, you're just doing the surface. You're not stretching. Jean says here now she has another picture. Wow, she gets all different pieces. Before and after pictures. The client already picked them up. These look like they're hairdresser chairs, I think.
Well, she's a lot more than these too, so
yeah.
You check those out.
Look at those ones. Those are nice, aren't they?
Some of them are really cool.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna stand up now because she's got a couple of them. Jean says, I started back to upholstery in 2011. This is some of my past work. There was a huge polka dots before clients said anything about but polka dots. They were bedroom chairs. I'm sorry, I'm not reading this properly, or it's not. And still, I think we calmed them down a little bit. These are just chairs that I'll show you. I guess she went from the pink polka dot chair to a white, canvas. I guess that's what she's trying to say. And she does great work to tow. And then here's Nico. Nico is really creative. You guys aren't going to believe this. Hi, folks. Back from Europe, and I hit the ground running. Finished 3 sofas. We read that, right, Patrick?
Yep.
I'm very, very proud of myself. While I was finishing the 3rd sofa, my Porter cable stapler started dry shooting. got about a week before I'll need to staple again. I'm thinking about investing in a BEA, which I highly recommend, but not sure which to get. Open to suggested. The BEA period is the gun that you want. Look at that, Patrick. Do you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Isn't that cool?
She always uses the most colorful
Yeah.
stuff.
I think that's cool. I think it's great to be creative. And then we got one more, you guys. If you're not bored to death by now, you maybe one more. Don't worry. You know, I recommend.
Well, this angle's a little bit strange.
Oh yeah.
I want to sit back.
Why?
Well, you're not holding the paper up.
What do you mean? I've been holding the pictures. Why?
Sorry, everybody.
Oh.
Sorry for the disturbing.
Well,
angle.
I blame the director who looked like he was asleep there for a minute.
I need to start getting those pictures back out without you having to stand up.
Finished a purple diamond chair. Let client know it's finished. This is it before and after picture. Is that what she's saying? Yeah. That's nice. This is also Jean. And that's it. Now, Patrick, is there any other comments or
Oh, wow, I can't believe you got through that one quickly. Wow.
Anything to wrap it up? Any more to finish up? Is there any comments or questions,
Well,
Patrick?
I can't really think of anything other than we're back and we're going to be doing these.
No, I mean from our fans here.
Oh, I thought you meant wrap up words here. No, there's nothing else.
All right. Well, this has been. How long has this been, Patrick?
Almost an hour and a half.
Well, this is one of our longest ones, but we had to catch up. And so usually, I mean, we don't want to bore you guys either. I mean,
People like the information. So
we pack a lot of information in the videos, and I think this show gives a lot of information.
So since Jimmy's coming back for the class, will he be in the Q&A next week? For the first time. He hasn't been here in a year.
Well, we'll see. I'm not sure. So
If he's going to be here, I assume.
if he's going to be here, we can have him in there because we just have to kind of. You have to have the mute button at the ready with Jimmy.
That's true. Won't work for me.
I'm just kidding. He can control himself. So I guess that's going to wrap it up, Patrick, unless you have something else.
Well, so I guess we're back every Monday now, 4, right?
Yeah.
Barring some sort of holiday or something else. But our regular schedule, I know Malcolm likes for me to say when the schedule. I'd say every Monday at 4.
So yeah, that has to be that because
we're
my schedule is busy. It can't be anything else because Tuesday I'm teaching, Wednesday I have a church commitment at night, Thursday I'm teaching, and then Friday I need to get usually
so
that.
When we do Wednesdays, but usually in the summertime when things slow down.
Right.
So now it's back to
has
Monday.
to be Mondays. Has to be if it's
has
not.
to be 4 because we'll be filming with Jimmy before that.
We may skip a Monday for some reason. Something comes up, but that's it.
But I don't see us moving the day around. I think
No, you can't
Monday's
move the day around. It's not good moving the day around anyhow. So I'll wrap it up. We'll see you guys next time.
Next week's going to be a fun one.